What's up, guys? Hades here. So I was looking for fun matches to review this week, and I came across Knights of Gondor against Crossbuild, and I decided to click it and check the records, and I was like, wait, this is actually a close team, like a close battle. Who is this Cross Guild team? Because they really put up a fight here. And what I want to show you is I made a tier list. If you haven't seen this yet, go ahead and check that video out. I had Knights of Gondor right about the C tier. They definitely beat everyone below them. They struggle against everyone above them. And they're in some top company. They're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. They're ninth on my list. This list is obviously subject to change, and many teams can beat many other teams. And I recently watched the Vex versus PRD game, and you can see Vex beat PRD, and I already had them a tier above. So yeah, let's go check it out. Alright, jumping into the battle here. We have GON in the top right at the white, and we have XGV bottom left in the red. I really want to find what kind of changed the tide here, like what was the big difference maker. 25 to 22, pretty frustrating to have such low numbers. I would love to see more. So what I'm already seeing, because we know Knights of Gondor won, they're actually 4 players down, so they just outplayed them, and you can see that's kind of that tier difference. I don't have XGV on my list. It was just a week for Knights of Gondor. You know, sometimes life happens and people can't make it, and it's just what it is. So XGV just doesn't have a great allocation of players at the start. You should never send 3 to a tower. Doesn't matter if it's middle, top, bottom. If you send 3 and they send a normal between 7 and 10 range, you're just going to lose. Like, you might as well have sent 0. It's either you match them or you don't send anyone. Those are the 2 options. Very awkward to send 0 people to the home. I guess they're just stretching thin because they know they're down players. But any red player from any location can just go take their home, which is really scary. I don't know if they see it. Oh, okay. Now someone from there. I think someone came in late and went there. Very close in the top lane in terms of just fighting battles, but it's very lopsided again. And the same concept here. Like, why even bother having 3 versus so many? You might as well just go with 0. And again, here in the bottom, big gaps. I believe they've already been ported. Nope. Just bad relocations. We didn't see that. Very big errors here. You should not leave such a huge gap. But yeah, let's keep going. I want to see what kind of turns the tide, because right now, Knights of Gondor really are pressing their advantage with just very poor allocation of troops. And that's the biggest mistake I've seen so far. So there's a counterattack coming here. It is 3 versus 3. And they have a significant portion of time already on it. I'm not sure if they'll be able to get this. Maybe they will. Knights are so far away. And they should be able to reinforce this constantly. Nope, it got denied. Which is pretty bad. Only 2 players could have been really hitting it. And you can just keep putting it in and taking it out. And it's actually a 4 versus 4. Bottom looks pretty easy. They're really connected versus very disconnected. Too much space and gaps between the players. It's gonna be really difficult. How how would this player help someone in getting focus in the front, right? It's such a far distance. Then if he helps him, he can't help the tower. They need to be moving up and focusing the same person and hopefully porting them out. They did take the top, which they were expected to due to their numbers advantage. They do own their home with only 4 defending. And now they took this back door. A rule I have for the back door is if you're not going to attempt to hold it for more than 10 minutes, you probably just shouldn't go for it. It's just so easy to defend. Any of the Knight players that die have this nice, easy relocation. It only takes like 20 seconds, 25 seconds, and you just go back, go back, go back. And they can support this. And if anyone dies, they're back in 1 minute. And it's really hard to hold this tower for an extended period of time. They completely gave up on middle. and they're only holding, well, they're actually holding 3, and this is kind of where they're keeping that neutrality, right? They get the 30 points and Knights get the 25 points. We can see 2 people have come in, so it's only a 2-person disadvantage. 2 people may not seem like a lot, but 2 people can make a difference at any tower if they go to the same place. You know, 2 focusing 1 makes a big difference. I would say 10 versus 8 in a neutral matchup is going to win within about 7 minutes, 7 to 10 minutes, depending on how coordinated people are. And yeah, this is desperation. When you have to be this disconnected around the edges, they're just getting focus fired from afar. I don't like how the Knights gave up the center so easily. And what I mean by giving up is they only left 1, 2, 3 players to defend it, which leaves tons of room for counterattack. This whole right side of the tower is open for relocations. And this is just how you can give yourself a free loss for no reason, because they're super distracted at home. This is the only advantage of going to their home like this, is that you become distracted. There's so many Knight players here. They're now missing out on this middle, right? And you're leaving yourself open to counterattack and counterplay. Do they actually lose this spot? Probably not. We'll see in a few minutes here, but the XGV players are actually playing pretty decent. Definitely, I wouldn't consider them top tier. They probably still don't make the tier list. But they could be like just below the C tier, maybe in the D tier. I've not heard of them. This is the first time I've seen them, so I'm happy to see another team kind of show out, do pretty well. If they're matching up well against Knights, they definitely have some, you know, solid builds. Even at a, you know, a small player advantage, if you can keep up this well, they definitely have some decent builds. But yeah, finally we got some moves up, and some of the Knights players either died or went back to defend, and just the rotations are getting a little sloppy. And if this continues and they keep the pressure here, they might actually end up getting this tower in the next few minutes, because what are they going to do? This player's almost gone. This player's almost gone. And then after those 2 are gone, there's only 3 left, and there's quite a few here. And if this player can move up in a few minutes, this is actually looking like a victory for XGV. And then here's the counterattack middle. Knights left it wide open. There's a huge arc of players. They have so many, they can easily go for an all-in, because it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 to 4. They have double the players. If you have double the players, you can easily do an all-in play on the tower, any tower. They actually poured a player, so now it's 8 to 2. And yeah, this really is looking like it should be a free tower if they just go for it. And I think they finally are. I saw a few marches go in. Yeah, if they just keep sending all their marches in here, this should be theirs. And if they get that, it's going to turn the tide. And then here they are again, counterattacking the Tower 1. Crazy rotations. I would say over-aggressive rotations is what this match would kind of tell to me. People have left stingy number of players to defend a tower. And I think that's the best lesson of this video, is you can't defend a tower with less than 3 people. I would say 4 is probably like the absolute minimum. If you're only holding with 3, 2, or 1, or 0, you're probably just trying to lose the game. Or there's just a huge miscoordination. Yep, here's the middle being taken. Looking at top, it's looking like they're not going to win that. Probably made a few mistakes, or maybe the builds aren't quite up to par. Home is still pretty safe, 3 to 1. They are about to take this bottom tower now too. There's only 1 player, and they're almost gone. And they took the middle, and now the game's gonna flip-flop, because they had a 23,000 lead, which is quite significant, but they gave up the middle for free almost to defend their home. A lot of players have died at the same time, which is probably just unlucky. They didn't have a lot of players in the base, or maybe they were holding on and they were using resurrection, and all that kind of fell apart at that like 40-minute mark because there's only 20 left. They should be able to hold this pretty easily. There's 5 versus 3, but they're gonna have to make a play somewhere. I don't think they win with the, I guess maybe they win with the points they have with only 18 minutes with the lead, because they already built such a big lead. But I'm not totally sure. We're gonna find out. Time is burning down. These players are struggling to defend, making very big errors, going to break the reload and then taking free hits. Middle should be theirs the rest of the game. I believe they have to risk it. I think mathematically XGV needs to go get another tower. I think it has to be this one. I think they should rotate some players from the middle to this tower and capture it, even at the expense of potentially losing middle. But with only 15 minutes, if you send like 2 or 3 of these players, the rest just look to defend, block relocations, kill reloads and block them as your only primary goal. You should be able to defend for at least 10 minutes while trying to capture something else. Even the home is pretty vulnerable too, though. There's only 2 here. And you can see this discrepancy. There's now a ton of players in the home base, and if they keep getting denied, this is going to make a huge difference, because not only are they down 3 players, but there's a bunch of players in the base, and they end up making a big play on the enemy home, which I'm not a big fan of in this situation. If it works, it's probably a decent play, but you really have to be very coordinated to get this many players here all at the same time. But yeah, it's a 4 versus 4 right next to their home, you know. These 2 players can very easily just walk over and make an impact if they need to or want to. 6, 7. So there's 8 players at Tower 4. This is an overcommittal to defense. This is too many players. They really need to push somewhere else. I believe they're trying to go here, but this is just not aggressive enough. With 10 minutes, you pretty much need to be in their face as close as you can. And these players, I would not recommend being this far away from your tower. Always be closer to your tower. Just pointing out all the little mistakes I'm seeing. Hopefully you gain some knowledge from these videos. I like to teach the basics, point out mistakes. The best way to learn is learn from mistakes, because no player is perfect. But there's a huge macro game and there's a huge micro game, and it's all coordination. You need 30 players who all know the fundamentals and are all working together to make it happen. And here is the final straw, kind of the piece that broke the camel's back. They just ditched middle. I said they shouldn't stay, but they actually just ditched it, and that's going to be the theme of this game. Knights at the start, they ditched their home. No one went there. Later in this game, these players captured top, and then they just ditched it, and they only left 1. And then Knights defend this, and then they basically just ditch it. And then they capture middle and have 8 people here, and then they just ditch it. So the ultimate lesson from this game is don't leave your tower undefended. I thought that was a very simple thing to do. But yeah, I actually think this is a huge fundamental that a lot of players are lacking, a lot of teams are lacking, and this takes leadership and guidance and a voice call. If you guys aren't in a voice call, make sure you're talking to each other. It makes the game more fun, and it makes your battles much more connected. But yeah, Knights get this middle back at the very end, and then they start collecting 45 points, and there's no way they can come back. XGV made a pretty decent run, but they are missing some fundamentals. I hope they improve in the future, and we can see them as a top contender, at least someone on the tier list. I'll make sure to keep my eyes out for them. And if you guys like these kind of videos, let me know in the comments below, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.